person came to me. He said कि from my childhood at 2:30 in the night with a dark figure putting a dagger in my chest.
Soul like scientifically proven है, I guess you were telling me about it.
Yes. So soul exist करता है, spirit exist करती है. आत्मा को देखा. Souls are like fully clothed like us. You know that new moon.
Okay.
Full moon to new moon, that part of the phases of the moon.
Right.
The moon phases are directly connected to the percentage of crime and our blood pressure.
ओम नमः शिवाय। मेरा नाम फागुनी है एंड आज हम सत्यलॉजी का फर्स्ट एपिसोड शूट कर रहे हैं। अभी आप थोड़ी देर में देखने भी वाले हैं उसकी एक झलक। और सत्यलॉजी एक हम नया कॉन्सेप्ट लेकर आए हैं जिसमें हम इंटेलेक्चुअल लोगों को लेकर आएंगे अपने साथ इंटेलिजेंट बातें करने के लिए। और आज हमारे जो गेस्ट हैं उनका नाम रेनू माथुर है। वो एक साइकिक हीलर है, मीडियम है और और उनके बारे में और भी जानेंगे अभी थोड़ी देर में। आप एपिसोड देखिए। आई होप यू लाइक इट एंड आई होप यू विल एंजॉय इट। और प्लीज़ हमें सपोर्ट करना, ये हमारा नया वेंचर है। थैंक यू। सो सत्यलॉजी के पहले एपिसोड में सबका स्वागत है एंड वी आर स्टार्टिंग दिस एपिसोड सीरीज विद माय फेवरेट पर्सन इन दिस होल वर्ल्ड, रेनू माथुर। शी इज अ साइकिक मीडियम एंड सुपरनैचुरल वर्ल्ड से बहुत ज़्यादा उनका कनेक्शन है। एंड लाइक मेरी भी स्पिरिचुअल जर्नी एक तरीके से कह सकते हैं कि रेनू माँ की तरफ से ही स्टार्ट हुई थी एंड आई एम सो थैंकफुल कि उनके थ्रू हम ये चीज़ स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं, पहला एपिसोड स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं। सो थैंक यू रेनुमा फॉर कमिंग हियर टुडे एंड फॉर गिविंग अस योर प्रेशियस टाइम।
A million blessings, Faguni, and lots of good luck and love to this endeavor जो आपने ये नई कोशिश स्टार्ट की है। बहुत सारे लोग बहुत कुछ करते हैं मगर सही ढंग से लोगों तक गेटिंग द राइट काइंड ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन टू पीपल, वही असली मेहनत है, वही असली जो है आपकी यूएसपी बनेगी एंड आई एम प्रीटी श्योर यू विल डू गुड।
थैंक यू सो मच। एंड सो स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड एंड मतलब हम यही से टॉपिक स्टार्ट करते हैं बिकॉज यू आर एसोसिएटेड विद इट। आप टैरेट भी देखते हैं, आप स्पिरिचुअल मीडियम भी है, साइकिक मीडियम भी है एंड क्लेयरवॉयंट भी है। सो हमारे जो ऑडियंस है उनको इस चीज़ के बारे में थोड़ा सा एक ब्रीफ एक चीज़ समझा दीजिए कि कैसे होता है, क्या है एंड व्हाट काइंड ऑफ वर्क यू डू।
ओके, the first thing that you said, tarot cards, I think आपको pretty well known है ये method of जिसे कहते हैं फ्यूचर के बारे में बताना। मैं इसको भविष्यवाणी का टूल नहीं मानती। आई थिंक टैरो इज अ गाइडेंस टूल। इट विल टेल यू व्हाट इज राइट एंड रॉन्ग। वो रास्ता चुनना आपकी मर्जी है। सो आई बीन डूइंग दिस फॉर मे बी मोर देन 30-35 years एंड वन थिंग लीड्स टू द अदर। चीजें कनेक्ट होती हैं आपस में। इनिशियली व्हेन आई वाज लाइक 20, 25, 30 years old, पीपल यूज्ड टू कम टू मी, हमारे साथ क्या होने वाला है, हमें इस चीज से डर लगता है या हमारे रिलेशनशिप में ये इश्यूज हैं, तो ये चीजें हमारे पास आती थी। ग्रेजुअली दे कन्वर्टेड इनटू सी मुझे लगता है देयर इज समथिंग रॉन्ग, लाइक यू सेड, राइट। सो देन दे वांटेड टू नो कि कोई नेगेटिव एनर्जी तो नहीं है, किसी ने कोई मैजिकल स्पेल तो नहीं किया है। सो वन थिंग लीड्स टू अनदर एंड अ लॉट ऑफ स्टफ हैपेंड। एंड आपने एक वर्ड बोला क्लेयरवॉयंट। मैं उसका मीनिंग आपसे शेयर करना चाहूंगी। अ क्लेयरवॉयंट इज अ पर्सन who intuitively knows कि something is going to happen and that does. So people start trusting that person. That is how मेरे पास लोग आने start हुए। They started asking me, they started asking for guidance, like what is happening, what is going to happen. Now see, elections, relationships, even wars, a lot of things happen and there are people who want to know what is going on. So that is where psychics or mediums like me हमारा रोल आता है। और हमसे लोग इस बारे में क्वेश्चंस पूछते हैं। आई एम यूजिंग द वर्ड हम बिकॉज आई नो मैं अकेली नहीं हूँ इस फील्ड में काम करने वाली। बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो ये इस दिशा में काम, इस डायरेक्शन में इन्वॉल्व हैं। उनकी अलग अलग लाइन ऑफ वर्क है, अलग अलग लाइन ऑफ एक्शन है, लेकिन अल्टीमेटली इट ऑल बॉइल्स डाउन टू आई वांट टू नो व्हाट्स गोइंग टू हैपन।
राइट, राइट, राइट। सो लाइक आपकी स्पिरिचुअल जर्नी कब स्टार्ट हुई? लोग तो आपके पास बाद में आना स्टार्ट हुए, आपको ये सबसे पहले कब पता लगा कि
I think I was around maybe pretty young, 18 or 19 years old. And I was a student, and there were a lot of things happening. Like, I used to tell my parents कि आज don't drive today.
ओके।
And they were like, "तू पागल है? मतलब what are you saying? You are just a kid." And then something or the other usually happened. उनका जैसे टू व्हीलर था तो स्किड कर जाता था,
अच्छा।
या कुछ ना कुछ कोई इंजरी हो जाती थी।
ओके।
तो देन दे यूज्ड टू कम बैक टू मी कि तुझे कैसे पता था? तो एंड आई यूज्ड टू बी लाइक, हाउ डू आई नो इट? द थॉट जस्ट केम टू मी। उस एज में और उस टाइम फ्रेम में, आई एम 60 नाउ, सो यू कैन इमेजिन, डू द मैथ्स कि 40 years ago people, there was no access to the thing called Google, internet, whatever. So जो हमारी वर्ड ऑफ माउथ या जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन थी वही चलती थी, और वहम भी करते थे लोग। बट आई हैड नो वे ऑफ काइंड ऑफ assimilating any information कि what is happening. And then I met a woman from a Mexican lady.
ओके।
She's the one who gave me my first set of tarot cards.
ओके।
हाँ, I was, I think, 18, 17, 18. And she just told me the random meanings of the cards. I have never read a book or anything on the internet about tarot.
ओके।
And with God's blessings, I think my accuracy level is around, 95,
Right.
98%.
Right.
So I'm comfortable with guiding people. I know I will not put them in the wrong direction.
सो इतना आपको एक्सपीरियंस है, काफी साल हो गए आपको इस काम में, तो काफी बड़े बड़े नाम, काफी बड़े बड़े पॉलिटिशियंस भी आते हो गए आपके पास। नहीं, आई डोंट वांट कि यू शुड टेक नेम्स, बट स्टिल कि वो भी बिलीव करते हैं इन चीजों में कि ऐसा उपाय कर दो, नहीं हमें नेगेटिव चीज दिख रही है या इविल है हमारे पास।
फागुनी, लेट्स बी वेरी क्लियर।
हाँ।
हम कहते हैं क्या शैतान एग्जिस्ट करता है? देखिए, अगर हेल्थ है तो अदर साइड इज बीमारी।
हाँ, राइट।
भगवान है तो शैतान है, गुड है तो बैड है। बोथ एस्पेक्ट्स एग्जिस्ट। तो अगर हम ईश्वर को मानते हैं, वी बिलीव इन द डिवाइन, वी कैन नॉट निगेट द प्रेजेंस ऑफ द डेविल।
राइट।
अब आप किस एनर्जी को अपने ऊपर हावी होने देते हैं, या कौन सी ऐसी सोच है जो आपको ब्लॉक करती है, वो आपकी डेस्टिनी या आपका जो से कार्मिक बैलेंस है वो कहते हैं। बट फॉर श्योर, और जो आपने कहा, यस, आई गेट अ लॉट ऑफ सरप्राइजिंगली ब्यूरोक्रेट्स, पॉलिटिशियंस, एंड supposedly people who don't believe in all this. वो कहते हैं ना कि लाइक पीपल फ्रॉम विलेजेस और अनएजुकेटेड बैकग्राउंड्स, वो ज्यादा दे आर इनटू ऑल दिस। बट सरप्राइजिंगली all of us, कहीं ना कहीं जाके we want to know how to deal with things. And then when there is confusion or lack of clarity, that's where people come to people like me for answers. And sometimes, जैसे किसी की sudden death हो जाती है, somebody loses a young child or a parent, and you're not there, और आपको लगता है कि अगर मैं वहां होता या होती तो I could have spoken to my parent or sibling or child. Then that thought comes कि I wish I could connect with their spirit. That is where I come in. Like you said, I'm a spirit medium. It's a very complicated process, but yes, soul exist करता है, spirit exist करती है।
तो वो स्पिरिट जो है वो आप अपने अंदर बुलाते हैं, मतलब बात करवाते हैं कैसे, मतलब वो प्रोसेस क्या है? अगर
I don't know how to say this, but most of the time I've done it a few times for people, but I will make it very clear. जैसे हम हिंदू धर्म में मोक्ष प्राप्त करना कहते हैं, if the soul is released by the divine and does not have any rebirth like demarcated for it, or if a soul has already been incarnated in another human body or any body, could be an animal even, then you cannot channelize that spirit, because that spirit is no longer free roaming. And that means if you're invoking the spirit, you're pulling the spirit out of somebody's body, which is in effect destroying that body. So if there are levels of spirits where they are found, I should say. The lowest is hell, the highest is heaven. So there are lots of levels in between. The one of the levels is the netherworld, Nether. That is where all the traumatized spirits are. Murders, suicides,
Okay.
accidents, sudden deaths, though it may be destined. But when a soul or life is suddenly pulled out of,
Right.
not like gradually, like they say that a person falls sick or even has an accident or illness and gradually his life fades away. When a body is traumatized suddenly, those are the souls that, if not released properly through some kind of like, we do those havans and pujas and stuff like that. All religions have that. Those are the spirits that kind of roam around directionless, and sometimes temporarily they find maybe a vague presence of something like, what should I say, a body to go into.
Okay. Okay.
Or sometimes the air and atmosphere is so clear that the ether with which the soul is formed, you can actually see it. That's where people say कि हमने किसी की आत्मा को देखा, हमने वहाँ भूत देखा, या हमने I saw a ghost. Baki rest is all that Hollywood Bollywood symbolism, that something clothed in a white cloak is coming from the other side. Doesn't work like that. Souls are like fully clothed like us. If you see them, you see them. It has got nothing to do with that Casper the good ghost or some bad ghost image.
Yeah, even then.
No. Absolutely not. That is all, photographic license done by guys like you.
ले ठीक है सो आज तक के आपके करियर में सबसे डरावना एक्सपीरियंस जब आपको खुद को भी एक बार डर लगा हो कि नहीं कि अब नहीं कर सकती मैं ये चीज या अब इस सोल के साथ कम्युनिकेट नहीं कर सकती हूँ
I think will be a very scary thing to share, because I've never ever shared it with anybody. And now I am sharing it on a very, like, platform where everybody is going to know about it. There was this, lady who came to me who wanted to know whether her son was the rebirth of her brother.
ओके
And both had died at the same age, on the same date, different years.
ओके सो उनके बेटे की डेथ पहले ही हो
The brother died.
अच्छा
By that time, the son was born, he grew up. The brother was in the army. He was killed during a war at the age of, I think, 25 or 26. Traumatized death.
हाँ
Same date, different year, son died in a road accident. The brother was shot in the head. The son died due to a head injury.
ओके
And believe it or not, we came to that conclusion after like maybe 2 months of efforts, analysis, channelizing, communicating, that indeed it was, that the son was the rebirth of his uncle, and now he was born to someone in his soul had been reincarnated into a young child in somewhere in Rajasthan.
Okay.
So we could not. I identified the area, the house, and stuff. But beyond that, the thought that this could actually happen, identical deaths. And it was not like scary per se, like I got scared or anything, but it was such a, an experience and that shook me. But I felt so good that the lady who had come to me was ultimately at peace. That the brother, then the son, was now somewhere in a family, healthy, growing, at peace. So that was a very, soothing experience. But if you call the scary part, that is a very continuous presence with me, because like we spoke off camera, I told you something. If I go and stand in a particular area and there is some kind of a presence there, my body immediately reacts.
Okay.
I get shivers, my eyes start to get heavy, my body is affected if there is a presence. And if the presence is negative, I actually start feeling unwell.
Okay.
So it's a very physical reaction to a negative presence.
Right. Okay. So, सोल की कुछ लाइफ होती है, लाइक कितने साल सोल जीती है? लाइक बॉडी की तो एक लिमिटेशन होती है आई गेस, बट सोल की कितनी लाइफ होती है
देखो,
और कैसे?
सोल इज इटर्नल.
हाँ.
इट इज एनर्जी.
ओके.
तो कन्वर्जन फ्रॉम वन फॉर्म और द अदर.
हाँ.
आपने कभी देखा है जो ये ताई ची और ये जो एक्सरसाइज करते हैं चाइनीज और योर जिजुत्सुस एंड योर कंफूस, they do something like this.
हाँ.
They call it ki, chi.
हाँ.
That is chi or ki or pran. That is your energy, your soul energy. So why are they so good at martial arts? They know how to channelize that energy like a pin point of the sword, which is why their reaction or fighting process is so accurate. They are very precise in what they do because they know how to channelize. So this is an extra information that I was giving you. But that ki, the prana, that is eternal. That is an energy that flows within you. And depending on how healthy you are mentally, psychologically, or physically, it affects the balancing of your chakras, which is a different discussion. And but when a person dies, the soul is released and into the outer world, into the nether world, I said, or into the good level above a certain negative level towards heaven. But till it is reborn, the souls of those we have lost are around us. And sometimes, like I told you a few minutes back, they are visible depending on the circumstances. Actually, the weather.
Okay, weather like कैसे?
Weather as in, light travels faster than sound. You have studied.
Right.
पर जब cloud burst होता है, first you see the lightning, then you hear the sound.
Right.
This is how this works. There are certain particles, atoms in the atmosphere, which connect at a level that any soul or any extra energy which is present will be visible for a certain period of time. It could be a few seconds, it could be more than a few minutes.
So, like thunderstorm or lightning, may we have higher chances of getting connected?
Yes, and during that that new moon,
Okay.
full moon to new moon, that part of the phases of the moon.
Right.
Added information. Do you know that the moon phases are directly connected to the percentage of crime and our blood pressure?
नहीं. नहीं, this
Interesting.
is something new.
Yes.
Right.
See, the river, the sea, all these are flowing water. A lake is a stationary body, but a river, especially a sea, it's all flowing water waves, right? Moon phases raise the water up and down. Our blood is liquid.
Okay, and it is moving.
Any liquid which is moving will be affected by the phases of the moon.
Okay.
And if you are a person who has a negative mindset, or you are, a very revengeful or a very reactive person, that phase of the moon will affect your blood pressure. I keep telling the police department sometimes that you should have a data, you should collect a data about the crimes committed during the phases of the moon, which is a very odd thing to do. But
Right.
yes, then you can probably increase patrolling or do stuff like that.
Right. Or probably decrease the crime rate also.
I don't know. Matlab, this is a bit of information which is
Right.
odd but can be used.
Right. So, soul, like we discussed earlier also, कि soul like scientifically proven है, I guess you were telling me about it.
Yes.
So, वो experiment के बारे में.
That is a very pretty well-known experiment. Everybody was like, आत्मा होती है कि नहीं?
हाँ.
Prove the existence of the soul. I one time I did a live session on TV with somebody, and on this very same subject, and I was asked कि आत्मा होती है कि नहीं? So I asked that person, "Do you believe in God?" He said yes. I said, "You are sitting in a studio in Delhi. The chair next to you is vacant. Call God. Ask him to sit on that chair. If I can see God sitting next to you, I'll show you the soul."
And then
I was called. You know what? So coming back to your a few years back, you know, in America and some countries they have capital punishment.
right.
At least they used to have at that point of time,
Right.
which meant the death penalty.
Right.
उसमें usually they give you lethal injections. Hanging नहीं होता वहाँ पे. So one particular inmate in a prison was requested. Probably he had a scientific bent of mind or whatever. So he agreed to this experiment. Till the time that uska life tha, he was allowed to live happily. Then he was enclosed in a glass room and a vacuum was created in that room.
Okay.
So his body gradually gave up, and the minute he stopped breathing, the glass cracked.
Okay.
And his body was weighed before the experiment up to the micromilligram.
Okay.
And after this happened, his body was again weighed. So the weight was reduced by 21 grams.
Okay.
Which is supposedly the weight of the human soul.
Okay.
So this has been, lot of people have that, people like me even we have that curiosity or that scientific thought process that all of us need validation and proof of things. तो कहीं ना कहीं हमें भी लगता है कि कैसे पता लगे. So this is one of the ways you do it, that this is a scientifically proven fact कि soul exists करती है and it has a certain weight in grams and milligrams. So if soul exists, everything else also does.
If soul exists, then no, of course, वो negative energy.
Yes.
And मतलब
the ghosts, the evils, the witches, the wizards, everything exists.
Right. So like वो psychologically नहीं होता. Like some people also say
No.
psychologically
हाँ, देखो some people
bipolar disease है.
हाँ, वो हो सकता है. Schizophrenia में there are hallucinations. Then there's a multiple personality disorder.
Right.
1 minute I am so and so, the next minute. Those are psychologically, manageable and analyzable mental or health conditions.
Right.
But if a perfectly healthy person, supposedly like you and me, if we see stuff or we feel stuff, then we would want answers.
Because yes, we would need those.
We would want answers, and then हम पूछते हैं कि किसको पूछें.
बिल्कुल.
Then the questions arise कि बताओ कैसे.
So उस टाइम पर आप जैसे mediums जो है वो present होते हैं and they help us out or they guide us out.
देखो guide ना Faguni, when you want to supposedly talk to a spirit, I am supposed to invoke the spirit within my body. Okay. Then you said scary, okay. My voice changes, my body language changes, the way I communicate changes. And for that, I have to protect myself with a lot of positive energy, crystals, invocations, prayers, so that no harm comes to me. And the person who wants that communication, only me and that person need to be there in that space. So if that person, he or she needs to ask questions, like if it's his or her mother or some relative or some friend, wife, anybody, XYZ, I wouldn't know about them. I would just see the picture or maybe the name of the person. They tell me later on that this happened. You gave us this answer. You gave us this answer.
And you won't remember that.
Huh?
You won't remember that.
I don't remember anything like that. I just remember that after that, my body is so depleted.
Okay.
It's like donating blood. You immediately need nourishment.
Okay.
You know what? A girl came to me once that her mom was very unwell in the ICU, and doctor had given her a very short period of time. And she was an only child.
Okay.
She called me up. I immediately did a reading and I told her, gave her a precise time that 2:30 in the afternoon you reach your mother, otherwise you will not be able to talk to her.
Okay.
She said, will you come with me? I said yes. And साथ के साथ मैंने बोल दिया, I think हो नहीं पाएगा. कहती है, she said, please don't say this. I said, we'll do our best. She lived like about half a kilometer or 1 kilometer from where I live.
Okay.
And the hospital was like 8-9 kilometers away. So the total traveling time 15-20 minutes.
Right.
Precisely 10 minutes past 2, her car got a flat tire. And she could not meet her mother. Then we later on, after all the rituals were done, we channelized her mother. And the mother told her specific things that in your Almira, there is this box, there are certain things lying in that, give this to that person. There's a watch, give it to your like cousin or something, I don't know. They gave her a lot, she gave her a lot of information.
Like a lot of instructions.
Lot of like, So in a way, it gave the girl closure that she could not meet her mother, but she could directly or indirectly communicate and felt like, okay, I got something. That is what makes it worthwhile.
So like people like you, mediums, we can consider कि नहीं आप blessing हो हमारे लिए क्योंकि ये चीज like हर कोई नहीं कर सकता है, right?
कहते तो बहुत लोग हैं कि हम कर सकते हैं.
हाँ.
बट देखिए, एक बहुत पहले मैंने किसी के इंटरव्यू में मुझे किसी टीवी चैनल, हिंदी टीवी चैनल से पूछा गया था कि अगर आप ये कर सकते हैं तो आप तो किसी का भी नुकसान कर सकता है. तब मैंने उनको ये कहा था कि देयर इज अ वर्ड इन इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज कॉल्ड एथिक्स. इंजेक्शन हर डॉक्टर लगा सकता है. जहर का इंजेक्शन वही डॉक्टर लगाएगा जो अनएथिकल होगा. So a lot of people come to me with आपको तो ये आता है करना, you can do this, you can make things happen. So we will give you whatever you ask for, but do this. The minute I'm asked to harm somebody, I completely refuse. Because Faguni, I completely believe, I thoroughly believe that there's this, saying whatever you give out comes back times 3. So I believe in karmic balance. I believe in paying it forward. I believe in not hurting people.
So like can we know our karma also कि karma हमारा क्या है या पिछले लाइफ में हमारा क्या कर्मा था अब क्या है कुछ रहता है.
Yes, that is done.
कोई डेप्ट रहता है हमारा karmic.
Karmic debts can be analyzed, which is when people come to me. That takes a certain period of time to do. But yes, for the past 6 or 7 births, you can analyze where you have gone wrong. For example, if you have killed somebody by drowning that person, you'll end up having that kind of a situation in your life, something to do with water, or maybe you'll be scared of water, maybe you'll be harmed by water in some way, but that balance will happen here. And if you've done something good, a person came to me, he said, from my childhood, I wake up at 2:30 in the night with a dark figure putting a dagger in my chest.
Okay.
He lived pretty close to my house. And I was like, why? He said, I have no idea. You can ask my maid, जिन्होंने मेरे को look after किया and whatever. We did a lot of analyzing. We did a lot of studying. It came that in some past birth, he was some, Maharaja kind of person. And his dai wanted her son to be the king. And the dai's son had tried to kill him. And this pattern had repeated 3 times in the past births. So वो उसकी जो क्रोमोसोम राइबोसोम कह लो या उसका जो इंटरनल सोल था उसके अंदर एम्बेड हो गया वो एक्सपीरियंस. And that kept the pattern was again repeating in this birth. So once we came to know, I did a bit of emotional psychological counseling. We had a few sessions and then thankfully he came out of it. Which was a very weird thing because he had not hurt anybody, he had not harmed anybody. But the pattern kept repeating because nobody had stopped it. Interesting.
Right. So like I have phobia about heights. So like मेरा भी लाइक पास में शायद हाइट्स की तरफ या कुछ ऊंचे से
phobias are not necessarily connected with past birth. I'm claustrophobic.
ओके
I can't sleep with my head covered.
ओके
Well, that's the thing. We cannot connect everything with past births and karmas. It could be just a manifestation of a fear of some kind. So, if you have a fear of heights, you need to overcome it. Go on a hike gradually. Not true. You need to come out of it. Otherwise, it keeps going on and on. As you grow older, it gets worse.
Right.
And then it filters to your next generation because you're scared. You won't let them do stuff. So you need to get out of that, mental block.
Right. So, being a woman in this field, so like equality or
My favorite question.
right.
You are educated, you are a post grad. Why are you doing this? My answer to all these questions is why not? If you can't do something, please do not disrespect a person who can. And the psychic energies, the divine has decided. There's this power up there. I think God is a female. I always keep saying that. So, the thing about Sita, Ram, Radhe, Sham. It's always, and Navratra mein 9 deviyan. So most of the time, whatever our social situations are in the way we treat a woman, but, temples, prayers, in our ceremony, is mostly the women, the girls who are given a certain level. But the once you walk out of that, that prayer space, or you walk out of your house, you are suddenly a third class citizen and you're treated that way. And a person who is like a psychic medium, or in your words, a witch, which loosely translated is Turan, not a very nice space to be in. But I chose it and I'm happy to be who I am. So I've spent like my almost more than half my life doing what I do. So some XYZ who thinks just because, he's a guy or even a female has the right to pass judgment on my life, God bless you.
Like, thank you रेनुमा. Like, I think कि time का भी constraint है हमें, तो it was really an enlightening conversation and I really had fun and I think हमारी audience को भी बहुत चीजें नहीं पता लगी होगी जो उनको पहले नहीं पता थी, but new things they must have gained.
And I think we need to carry this conversation forward at some later date.
Later date, right?
Because there's lots people don't know. और जो हमें नहीं पता उससे हम डरते हैं या नफरत करते हैं. So clarity about things you don't know about, guys, come out with questions, we'll give you the answers.
Right.
That's for sure.
Right.
That is what all this discussion is all about.
Right. नहीं हम इस पॉडकास्ट के थ्रू, इस चैनल के थ्रू, लाइक सत्यलॉजी हमने नाम नाइस किया. थैंक यू. सो हम यही दिखाना चाहते हैं कि एक माइथोलॉजी, एक ये चीजें जो है ना, सुपरस्टिशंस और इन चीजों को ब्रेकिंग द स्टीरियोटाइप्स करना चाहते हैं कि नहीं, वी शुड हैव एन ओपन माइंड अबाउट दीज थिंग्स एंड I think there are such energies जिनके साथ हम काम करते हैं.
As I go, I will just say one thing. There's a word in the English language, research. Break it into two, research. Search for things that already exist. Pushpak Viman was a helicopter in the Ramayana.
Right.
So there were things that existed. The pyramids were built. So much happened when no science, technology, or any kind of stuff existed. So what we need to do is learn to trust and be open to knowledge, be strong and open to enough to ask questions. Everything is there. The answers are out there. There are people like us out there who will answer all your questions. And if not, we will find answers together. But ask.
सीरियसली क्यूरोसिटी होनी चाहिए, तभी आपको
क्यूरियोसिटी होगी तभी जवाब मिलेगा.
हाँ, ठीक है. So thank you so much, Renuma, and it was a pleasure having you here. And all the best. And thank you so much.
God bless you all.
Thank you. हेलो गाइस, सो आई होप आप लोगों को आज का एपिसोड बहुत अच्छा लगा हो और आपको बहुत सी नई नई चीज़ें पता लगी हो स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड के बारे में, स्पिरिचुअलिटी के बारे में। एंड आई होप आप लोग मैक्सिमम ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लाइक, शेयर, कमेंट, सब्सक्राइब सब कर दीजिए। थैंक यू और हमें हमेशा सपोर्ट करते रहिए।